Any object placed in a fluid such as water will experience an upward force called upthrust. It is the upthrust of water which makes it possible for a boat to float on water. It is also the upthrust of air that lifts a hot air balloon upwards. The upthrust of water on a boat can be thought of as the contact force of the water on the boat. It is caused by the pressure of the water pushing upwards on the boat. Pressure arises from the motion of the water molecules colliding with the boat, and net effect of all these collisions is an upward force. The deeper you go, the greater the pressure. So there is more pressure on the lower surface of an object than on the upper surface, and this tends to push it upwards. If upthrust is greater than the object's weight, it will float up to the surface. For the purpose of illustrating the upthrust as a force acting on the object by the water, I have shown the arrows in this manner. However, when we are drawing free body diagram to solve dynamics problems, we are to draw the forces acting on the object of interest, which in this case is the box. Hence, we can place the upthrust as the upward force and the weight as the downward force as shown in this diagram, both forces acting on the same object. Again, I will remind you that these two forces are not of the same type and they are not a Newton's pair of action and reaction forces. Another thing to note is that upthrust exists in any kind of fluid, even in air. As mentioned earlier, upthrust is the force that lifts a hot air balloon. In fact, any falling object in air experiences upthrust. We have learned in Module 1 as well as in the course of kinematics that when a ball falls off a cliff, there is an upward air resistance acting upwards on the ball. In fact, there is also an upthrust acting upwards on the ball. However, the upthrust is very small because the density of the air around it is low. Molecules at the bottom of the ball pushes it upwards, but there are also molecules on top of the ball that pushes it downwards. So the net effect or the resultant force upward is very low. Therefore, the upthrust is very low. Take note that air resistance is different from upthrust. Upthrust is the contact force as a result of the molecules of the air colliding on the ball, whereas air resistance is a frictional force that opposes motion and will increase with increase in the speed of the falling object. Similarly, we will learn in the next lesson that when a boat is moving, it will experience a resistive force called drag. Drag is a frictional force and is different from upthrust. We will learn more about this in the next lesson and will dive into greater detail on upthrust in the course of mass and density. In summary, upthrust is caused by the pressure of the liquid pushing upwards on the object. Pressure arises from the motion of the liquid molecules colliding with the object. Upthrust acts on a body in an upward direction, in opposite direction to the weight of the object. If upthrust is greater than the object's weight, the object will float up to the surface.